Hi, I'm Michelle, otherwise known as Mama Cageless, and this is my story about how I got into Harley-Davidsons. In 2020 in October, I'd been living here in Durango area for a couple of months, moved here after my husband passed, wanted to change in life. I kept seeing all the motorcycles, so I was kind of drawn to come over to the Harley and see what they had. I'd mosey around, but this day in October, I pulled in and I saw the absolutely most beautiful bike. Of course, it is this one, my '06 Softail Deluxe. Saw it from the road. At the time, it had a different style of windshield on it. It was dark with the dark to the white. Man, I mean, this bike, I spotted this thing as soon as I was pulling in. Walked straight down and decided this time I was going to go in and talk to a sales guy about getting started with a Harley. I'm a second generation female rider. My mom had a 1986 883. That was the year they came out with them, a candy apple red Sportster. And I thought for sure that that was probably with my size and everything where I was going to need to start. But as I was talking to the sales guy, I told him, I said, man, you have the most beautiful black and white bike out there, man. What a smart salesman, because he took me to this bike first. It was I had a different seat on it, so I was a bit tippy-toed because I didn't come in prepared to buy a bike, so I'm wearing tennis shoes. And I was pretty tippy-toed, but I was really impressed with how well the bike felt when I would go to pick it up. It just didn't feel like it was as heavy of a bike as it was. And it felt immediate comfort on the bike. I knew that it was a bike I was going to definitely like. Went over and tried out the Sportster, and I sat on it, and I picked it up, and they're a little more top-heavy as the weight isn't as evenly distributed. And I said, all right, so here, let's get to the nit and gritty. What's the price difference? This bike was just under $1,000 more expensive than the Sportster was. And I said, well, this is a no-brainer. So, of course, I bought this bike. And I've had a lot of fun as I've slowly but surely added some of my own customization. But the lady who had owned it before me, she'd already had a great start on this bike. As I started riding, I realized I was definitely bit by the bug. Came in about 6 weeks later and purchased my second bike. I loved my Deluxe, but I wanted something a little bit more fun to go play with, so I went on with the 48 Sportster 2012. Absolutely fun bike. Love the 48 Sportsters. I like those big fat tires on them. Just a cool looking bike. Really enjoyed that bike, but I could quickly tell that, man, I definitely liked a little bit of power. So I came back in 2 weeks later and said, I love my Deluxe and I like my Sportster, but I think I need a bike with a little bigger engine. So I moved on to a 2020 Street Bob with the 107. Absolutely loved my Street Bob. Bike taught me a lot. I had a lot of fun on it. It was giving you the same features with all the Softails, but it was just a little bit lighter, agile, and with that 107, that was a great motor for that bike. Within my first, before even my first year, I took my first overnight trip. I believe it was like 3 nights. I took off down to Scottsdale, Arizona to go see some friends, and I took this bike and I had her quite loaded up. And when I came back from that trip, I knew that I was probably ready to start to upgrade. If I could handle a bagger, that was where I thought I was going to do, because I knew immediately I loved to travel. But as much as I loved this bike, I knew it wasn't really the greatest for travel. You had to really pack it up. And so I went on and I sat on a Road Glide Special, the Snake Venom, Green Goblin, that's what I call her now. And I knew right away that this was going to be a bike that I was really going to enjoy doing some traveling on. I had the 114 engine on it, and it would have been the second bike I purchased in 2021, as I'd also added the Lowrider S. Really liked that bike with the 114, so it gave me some practice on what those bigger motor felt like from the 107. And as I got on that Road Glide Special, I realized that the traveling was absolutely a blast. I loved the fairing. I loved the music. I loved everything that the baggers offered, even if it was a little bit big for me. And the Harley worked with me real well at getting the bike lowered so that it could fit me. I've learned so much through these years on how you can customize bikes, you can make them fit you, and what bikes you really can't. So far, I've done pretty good at choosing bikes like a Deluxe, the Road Glide Special. Can change out shocks. You can do so much just to make the bike more comfortable for you. and I really appreciated them working with me and helping me on that journey. In 2021, I also added a 883 Sportster to the mix. It was the snake venom color. It was kind of cool having the big bagger with the little Sportster both in the same color. And I think at that time I had started to begin to trade in bikes. So I traded in my 48 Sportster. I still to this day kind of miss that bike. That was a little rebel of a bike now. And then as 2022 arrived in, they had the grand opening. I believe it was like January 29th of the brand new bikes coming out. And as I walk in, sitting on the showroom floor with all these lights on it, was the most beautiful blue steel CVO Road Glide. And I was a hook, line, and sinker for that bike. Traded off a couple to get that one. And I had knew pretty quickly after putting over in 7 months, I believed I'd already put 17,000 miles on my Road Glide Special, that I definitely was in need of having two of these bikes, because travel was becoming something I only wanted to do on a motorcycle. Just love the freedom of it. Just love everything that Harleys have brought for my life. And traveling on a bike was just, has its issues and has its difficulties, but it was the only way I wanted to travel. So I added the second Road Glide to my collection. Now the CVO ST, it was really cool. They make air ride for bikes, so I rigged it up with the Legends air ride, and that was really cool, especially watching people when I'd come into lights and just drop the bike down and go from tippy-toed to almost flat-footed. Really enjoyed that. And then as the end of 22 came around, I added a Road King to my collection. I really kind of was enjoying kind of the bagger, getting the bags, still getting that big bike feel. So I went on, and the Apex Black was such a cool color. So I added that bike in 2022. And then as 2023 came along, of course, added another bike. I added a Fat Boy. I had the Anniversary Fat Boy. Really liked the Fat Boy, but realized that the kind of riding I do, the Fat Boy is probably not necessarily the best bike for me. Looks great. Just a bad little bike to ride now, especially with that 114, but it definitely has its cornering, as the tires are so fat, and I ended up trading that bike in last year when I got the Lowrider ST. And last year I also added the CVO ST with that 121. I get those ride modes. Man, I absolutely love that Road Glide. It took the Road King and the 22 CVO to get it, but it was definitely well worth it. And then added another Sportster after I traded in my 883 when I got the CVO. So I've slowly started trading to where now I have what I call the 6 coolest bikes in my garage. Of course, I have the 06 Deluxe. I also have a 2000 completely custom out Fat Boy. A gentleman traded it in, and 4 hours later I bought it. It was the first time I ever got to really see some of the cool things you can add and do and change on a bike, and so it kind of is a template for me to help me with the changing out of this bike and customizing this one out to be a show bike. I also have a Sportster. I have a 2021 48 Sportster that is going to have some really cool upgrades probably over the winter as it gets turned into a adventure touring Sportster. Really looking forward to changing that bike out. And then my 3 main riding bikes, which is my 24 Lowrider ST, the Green Goblin, my 21 Road Glide Special, and Black Betty, my 24 CVO ST. I really like having multiple bikes. I love being able to go from one bike to the next. It just hones in and makes my skills even better and teaching me how to handle all these things. And my relationship with Durango Harley has been just incredible, as all these bikes that I've been talking about have all been purchased through Durango Harley-Davidson. They treat me incredibly well here. From the moment I bought my first bike, within I believe my second visit I came in, Miss Caitlin, the motor clothes manager at the front desk, as soon as I walk in with the most honest smile, "Hi, welcome in, Michelle. How are you doing? What have you been doing? So did you go for a ride?" Because everybody knew that I was bit by this bug, and they enjoyed me coming in and telling the stories. And then through the years, the last couple of years, I had worked at Harley, so I kind of got to see what it's like to be a customer and an employee, and kind of how all of this works. Enough to know that as much as I enjoyed being an employee, I definitely like riding more. So this year I'll be doing a lot for Durango Harley, but not actually as through being in motor clothes or as a fit specialist. This time I'll now just be in as a customer, but always promoting and doing anything I can for Durango Harley, because for everything they've done for me, they've become a family, a place that I like to come in and talk, all the stories, the fact that the service guys will come in, the techs will come out and they'll talk with me on when I want to change a bike and how I want to make it better. They really ask, like, they know the style that I ride, so their recommendations always fit with the way that fit with my style of riding. And then if I want to do something that they think might not be the best for me, they'll also tell me that, and I appreciate that, because sometimes we get big ideas of things we want to do and we make those changes and they don't necessarily work. So they try to keep me from having to spend my money twice, and I really do appreciate that. As I said, in these last, I believe I began riding October 21st of 2020. And since then, I have now put in close to 110,000 miles. So as you can see, the bug definitely hit me. I look forward to meeting more people as I come in this year, getting to talk with people, because this journey with the motorcycles has been an absolutely incredible one for me, and I would love to hear your story. All right, guys, this is Mama Cageless. I'll see you guys down the road.